No, yeah. I feel like you all the traits.
They're drinking on camera.
All right. Let's get started. And if anybody else joins us, we'll just try to fit them into one of the tables. Haley's gonna be running my PowerPoint. Ready? Yeah, I'm ready. So tonight, we're gonna look really briefly at the policy map that was edited after our last meeting, so you could see what those changes are that you all had decided on. When we go out to the community in the next poll, we will bring that policy map to them and ask them about both that green resilience area and about that orange highlight area if they would like to see any further changes. So we'll talk about that. We're going to go over some of the engagement gaps that we've seen in our data and what we might propose to do next, or how you all can help us to bridge those gaps in the next phase. We'll talk about the vision statement creation, which is going to be the main focus of the meeting tonight. That's what we're going to work on the most. And then hopefully we'll have a little bit of time, 5 or 10 minutes at the end, where I can introduce our existing condition study and our hazard analysis, which is getting really, really close to being done. And then your homework is going to be to read those 200 pages and give us
read the executive summary
or the executive summary or both, because they're excellent documents, I think.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we can give you a highlight, but this is the version 3 of the policy map. So just a reminder, we had the study area boundaries that helped inform our existing condition study. And then we had talked about some of the areas that needed to be included that were not part of that. So the green area being the resilience area, which does include also all of the orange, and then that orange area being more of the highlights. So these would be the areas that any policy recommendations and any actions outlined in the plan would be focusing on. And I've got 3 circles. So up in the Lake Eden area to the northeast is that section that includes more of the watershed creeks and areas that flow into the Swannanoa River. Then we've got more of the areas down near Lytle Cove to the south. And to the west, we extended over the orange highlight area to include some of those other communities that had been missing. So that is what it looks like when it's all put together. Oh, and can we wait just 1 second so everyone can, any questions about that? No, okay, next. So we looked at the boundary poll results and the SWOT analysis poll results. And this was a kind of a good place to stop and see if we were reaching the people we wanted to reach, if there were gaps in engagement, whether it be geographic gaps, demographic gaps, age gaps, those kind of things. And these are some of the things that we saw. So one of the problems with our early engagement was that we were engaging people in person in kind of an informal manner out in the community. We talked to a lot of people that were Spanish speaking. We don't have any demographic data for them. So that's missing data that we will need to try to make up for as we move forward.
The information that they said was there, but not their demographic,
Yes.
their demographics.
They answered the poll, but we were not collecting demographic
Got it.
data at those events. So that demographic data is missing, though we do have the results from the polls. We also have noticed a really high number of people that do not answer the demographic questions at all, which is really common. We saw that with the comprehensive plan.
Really?
It's just hard to get people to answer those because it is a sensitive question. So what we have seen is in our demographic data, the numbers that we have are not that different from the demographics from the US Census data. There are some places where we could improve kind of our outreach, but we have so few people answering the question that we really just don't know. So maybe getting more of that information as we move forward is something that's a goal for us. We also, so about 26% of the people that took the poll didn't disclose whether they live or work in Swannanoa. There's a question in there about what's your relationship? Do you travel through it? Do you have friends or family? Like, do you live there? So about a quarter of them did not provide that, but a lot of people do live or work in the area. So that's good. And then one of the biggest glaring gaps that we see is the under 26-year-old representation is currently missing. I would say that of all of the places that we have talked about how we can make up those gaps, that's the one that we feel the most confident about. We've got relationships with Warren Wilson College, obviously with Owen Middle School and with the high school. And so we're going to have some opportunities really soon to get in and start talking to some of the kids, some of the high school students and college students. But those are so just some of the highlights of what we saw, places that we need to make improvements as we move forward. And then next slide. This is a little bit more about the geographic gaps. So are we hitting like a good variety of neighborhoods and communities in terms of who's responding to the poll? And we've got really heavy representation kind of in the main corridor and to the east. We all knew that we were missing, some representation from the Riceville area, from some of the northern and southern halves. So that's conversations that we're having with our communications department about how can we get better turnout or be able to reach those communities that maybe aren't so linked into that core along the transportation corridor.
So what does each of those represent? Is that one person or is that a group?
So these are the people that answered the question, where do you live or work in Swannanoa, from the SWOT analysis. So we had almost 400 people take that poll. These dots represent the people that actually
So it's
answered that question.
Each pin is a
It's
person.
one person.
Okay.
And what's the difference between white and blue?
One is where they live and the other is where they work. I think the blue is
Where they live.
I'm not, we don't have a legend on this one. I'd have to go back and check, but I think it was where they live.
Just because I see places where there's not a place to work there. So it must be where they live.
We can go back and double check which color coordinates with which one, but.
So I wouldn't say that that's clustered along the corridor. I would say that's clustered in Beacon and Grevemont. And there's plenty of gaps along the corridor. Like if you were looking at where population was along 70, you would see the 3 apartment buildings as clusters of people, and we do not see that on this map. So I would say that the people in the 3 affordable housing apartment complexes along the main corridor are probably underrepresented here. So I would say, like, in the historic neighborhoods, we have clusters and rural and multifamily are probably underrepresented on this map.
And a lot of people obviously did not indicate where their geographic location.
Right.
This was one of the
Missing.
questions where most did not fill out that question.
Data, yeah.
So our team is currently talking about who do we need to reach out to? What locations can we add into the next round of engagement so that we get out into some of those other areas physically and be able to meet people kind of in their own community. We're having those discussions. But we would love any suggestions. You all are in the community. So, how can we get better representation or more widespread from the people that it just is hard to reach? So that's something we're hoping you'll keep in mind, and we'll talk about that more when we get to the homework. But any comments or questions about that? Before we
Just
move on?
to let you know, Leonard is here running our equipment, which is one of our amazing community engagement people with our CAPE department. So Leonard's one of the people that helps us connect with people in the community and connect with groups in the community and helps us try to brainstorm ideas about how to fill in those engagements.
All right. Okay, so we are going to move into tonight's activity, which is creating the vision statement. So just as a reminder, last time we had talked about the SWOT analysis, about that risk tolerance, I've been talking a lot or hearing with Beth about some of the data that she has seen and how different types of clustering of data can come to different outcomes. So I do hope you all looked at the results we sent because it does let you go into a lot more detail. Maybe see some things that are different than what our consultant saw. And I'm hoping that that will help inform the vision statements that you all come up with tonight. We'll go real quick over the vision themes from the comp plan, just as a reminder. And then you all are already in your groups. So hopefully everybody brought maybe a draft or a couple thoughts, and we can start coming up with at least the 3 that we want to take to the public tonight.
So just a quick question. We seem to be missing like a third of our number tonight. Are we expecting them to show up or?
I only heard from 2 people that they were not coming. So we have 11.
We have 13.
Yeah, so there's 1 person that is not here that did not reach out. I think we're missing 3.
9. We have 9 people here, right? Or am I missing something?
Okay, so then we're missing 4.
We're missing 4, yeah.
So future meetings, as long as we have a quorum, we'll move through whatever.
Right. I just would love to have the benefit of their homework to have their input on what they saw as a vision statement. I don't suppose you made them submit their homework.
I only got homework from 1 person.
You did get homework from
I
one?
have
Okay.
RJ's is on this table over here.
Okay, cool.
And I can double check in just a minute to make sure nobody else emailed in, but as of like 3 o'clock this afternoon, that was it. So, yeah, we will be taking these to the public. So they, I'm sure, will add or object or be thrilled with whatever we come up with tonight. No pressure. No pressure. So next. All right, so just to remind you, you've all seen this, but just to go through it one more time, we have an adopted comprehensive plan in the county. These are the vision themes that guide our work. We want to draw from these and, be cognizant of them, not contradict them as we move forward with any of the small area plans in the county. So striving to achieve equity, commit to sustainability, achieve livability and affordability, focus on conservation and root efforts in community. Those are our guiding vision for the whole county. The vision statement that you all will work on tonight is Swannanoa specific. It's just a concise statement. I think we can go to the next slide, actually. Concise, a description of what the study area should look like, feel like, and achieve over the next 10 to 20 years. So we're talking long vision. This is not specific to recovery in the short term. We're really trying to get back into kind of that long-term planning view on this type of plan. And then identifying collective aspirations for future growth, development, the environment, or quality of life, or all of it, and aligning with those vision goals. So you are already in your groups. You're going to share your vision ideas with each other and have some conversations with each other. Our goal was to come up with 3 options to take to the public. Since we only have 3 groups, what that means is that you don't have to come back together and just pick 3. We can bring each table's ideas as the top 3. But what we'll do is after your group has come up with your final version, we're going to put it on the screen so that you can all see each other's versions. We can kind of pick at them a little bit, tweak them, have a conversation, and then those will be the 3 that we take for public feedback. Does that sound like a good plan? Does anybody have concerns, questions? No?
Shannon, why don't we take a 5-minute potty break
Okay,
and food break?
yeah,
And then when we
cookie break?
cookie break
Cookie break.
at 5:55, we'll finish.
A lot.
We have to keep it, yeah.
So we could
No,
say
you
it
got
would be a statement of local.
So how about that?
With.
You don't have to do much.
She has.
No, what, for 20 years, I did reach out.
Yeah.
I was,
Okay,
I would have it.
You ready? I'm
Okay.
gonna type it in. Yeah, right.
There's so much little edit.
See, as I'm typing it, I start going. Sit down. Yeah, they can, they put the can, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I probably was not in hindsight the person to write it out.
We can help you out. Yeah, penmanship.
Yeah, it just kind of looks like every day.
No, actually, third grade probably looks. I don't know about you, but my job.
And then if I did start out into Light Mount Festival. And I did jump in for 20 years.
No comment after history. I'm trying to help you out here. There's comment, yeah, you're good.
Thank you. The only two, actually, I'm not worried about it. Yeah.
Like walkable to me is like.
That means you can safely. Safely move from our homes to other neighborhoods, or business district, or do I can walk to the English grocery store?
Cars should have gone between the three.
So someone who's a thoughtful manager. This is accomplished by focusing on Swannanoa's natural landscape. It's on water right now.
You're near the Jehovah's Witnesses?
Right, Carol, read it.
Okay.
Not
Grammar.
Let's read it.
There's one of the street and.
Thank Flagging it.
Yeah.
Crop
Is the same.
I don't know, I don't think so. I don't think there's a hyphen, let's Google it. But let's see, you might be right. Hold on.
You have to read it.
There is a hyphen?
It likes it.
Wow, Ben,
They
you're
say.
rocking it.
Promoting.
Well-being, one word. Businesses, arts, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, well-being. Local businesses, arts and agriculture will anchor a resilient economy that provide jobs and into the community by promoting visit.
Housing, transportation.
Job.
That.
Okay, really good, kid. It's not too long.
So this is what we have. Swannanoa. Swannanoa, they also made it written.
Oh, and you could. Just one. Sometimes like a lot of them. are-
You know, most of I haven't read it.
You have to change the verb.
Because I couldn't make one version. I've been, I mean, I'm literally
You just kept adding some more stuff to different versions. You thought you would trick us?
bail on.
But we were pretty quickly onto it.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, 'cause-
Everybody needs to questions, because I think this is.
It is. Yeah. It's not, it's like your instructions, like, write up, you really sound more. Say that in public.
Wait, a house.
I don't forget to include this and I should speak to every one of these issues.
And also, like,
And
make it short, one that everyone will vote for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it'll fill out tomorrow.
So first.
Gonna be or small office and delete. I know.
Get it
We'll say.
So
Scan this QR code.
QR code, baby.
Yeah, well, this will be the first set of slap that.
I thought that was QR code.
Yeah.
You can sign your card.
People are just so into QR.
Oh, they love that, yeah. Once they see that barcode, they're like, I'm out.
Yeah, they were.
So, you know, every engagement, they can't do it, they have.
What are we?
So, sure, cut as much as they said.
I just had to hide myself.
Type in the website.
And tonight it's
Type it in.
part.
Oh, website.
And just. Yeah, it's in your.
Have events that bring people to you. By giving them.
Yeah.
So mine.
Big enough.
It's a really fun event.
Yeah, that is.
That's good.
Does it fit in your house?
Figure out where.
It's the very end.
Community center.
If you look to your right.
Not that far, that I can find.
I thought you were.
The only other thing we can find are the churches.
Well, I mean,
But
that's what
You know, so I'm struggling with that.
Good exercise, but yeah, like, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like how, you get 22 acres. How
Are you all-
housing on that 2 acres?
You guys done? You did,
And that's,
okay.
that's the.
But I'm going to.
So you
really.
Okay.
If I don't, hold on.
All right.
Major part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they-
Yeah.
the groups. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through each one. The group who created it is gonna explain it, why they did it. And then we're gonna see if we have consensus to move that one forward for the public to vote on.
Okay.
So first one,
Well, we're bringing three.
we are bringing three.
Yeah.
Oh, so we don't have to bet on any of these.
We're done.
So we're done.
Yeah.
But we have to agree
Good job,
on
guys.
bringing these three. Or you guys, we all have to like, we
No,
all have. to
nobody's
agree.
feelings gets hurt. Equally in this.
All right, first one.
All right. I want to convince y'all that number one is the way we should go. I'm just gonna be upfront about that.
I love it.
You know, in the SWOT analysis, we talked about the need, there was a desire for resilience, increased resilience. We talked about having a close-knit culture for Swannanoa, enhancing the parks and trails and nature and recreation opportunities and local and unique businesses, as well as connectivity to both Asheville and Black Mountain, but also within Swannanoa. So I want you to envision Swannanoa being a unique, lush haven where the river and trails and greenways and mountains form the heart of lifestyle. So we talked about native plants lining bike paths and trails, as well as trees on the commercial corridors between Asheville and Black Mountain. And then we also talked about that the resilience that would build for the remaining development that occurs in the area that's not in the flood zone. We were also discussing the opportunity to have business that is rooted in the outdoor industry. So you could have lifestyle rooted in the outdoors, but also you could have business rooted in the outdoors, reflecting all the natural wonders and offering opportunities for adventure, relaxation, and commerce. Swannanoa we need to build a kind of coalesce a brand around Swannanoa and make it distinctive. And I think the outdoor industry could make us distinctive and give us a hook to hang so many other things on, quality of life, but also business. So we talked about having an array of housing options, mixed uses and commercial corridors that allow Swannanoa to maintain its strong sense of culture and community. So the vision statement then is Swannanoa is a vibrant, close-knit valley where nature and community thrive together. Our rivers, trails, parks, and mountains shape a lifestyle rooted in the outdoors with native plant-lined paths and corridors connecting us to Black Mountain and Asheville. Outdoor-focused businesses and enhanced amenities, diverse housing, and thoughtful development support resilience, culture, and lasting connection. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just add to that, this stuff that Rob and I were also kind of liking about the direction of what Kid is talking about in this is just leaning into what we already naturally have in our community, which is beauty in the mountains. Like standing in the Swannanoa Valley is one of the prettiest parts of Buncombe County. And this outdoor recreation, outdoor focus, nature, that being the catalyst that fuels everything that we've all in the community is all asking for. But when you start with like leaning into a little bit more of the brand of what Swannanoa is and our natural strength, I think is the catalyst for the other things that we're all after and what the community's all after. But so I like it because it stands out. It stands out different than what every community would probably say if they were in a small area planning. We all want affordable housing. We all want diverse housing. We all want, resilience. We all want stormwater resilience. We all want economic growth. We all want jobs. We all want diversity. We all want inclusion. We all want connectivity. But all of that comes when you kind of put the business hat on for a second and think about your community a little bit like a brand. And what are we pulling to? What are we like leaning into that is a strength that we all already have, which is beauty and nature. And that fuels everything. And that's why I love what, like, it kind of leans into something a little bit versus just like shotgunning all the stuff we all want. Those are aspirational things, but we got to lean into like, what do we have that other communities in the country may not? And I think it's beauty in nature and that kind of stuff. So I like that one for that reason.
This is a very outdoor focused, economic development focused one. Does anyone have any major issues with it or anything that they feel?
I have some issues, honestly. I think it is, I agree that we live in a beautiful area and I would like to preserve that to be accessible for the people that live here now and the working class families that have lived here for generations. And I feel like this focus, it doesn't address that accessibility. And I hear you, and as a business person myself, I do hear you. I just want to be really careful that we're not, I mean, how has this worked for other areas? Like, I mean, Asheville, people are pushed out of their community. So I just think we need to be really careful with that.
Yeah, I would agree that, I totally agree that this is very important. We can definitely lean into the outdoor, creating more opportunities to enjoy our natural assets that we have in the community, the beautiful mountains, the river, all that stuff. But I do think it leaves out a lot. There are things that are important to the people who actually live here. Like there are people who live here who don't want to be connected to Black Mountain and Asheville. There are actually quite a lot of people who live here who don't want that. They want what's happening here to happen for Swannanoa and within Swannanoa. And this seems to be a little more outwardly focused rather than inwardly focused, though I totally get what you're saying. And I
just pulled it from
personally like
analysis though.
Personally like the vision of, for me, I'm an outdoor focused person and that's a great vision. But I also don't want to be, I feel like maybe we ought to read through all three of them.
Okay.
Because I feel like there may be space for lots of, for different versions of this that may appeal to different people. And so maybe something like that is gonna be missing or, there may be a space for, but if it was the only one, I would definitely feel like it left out a lot.
I mean,
So,
I'm just saying that if we're gonna have outdoor focused businesses, are they accessible to the people who live here and to people who cannot typically afford? those
Yeah.
opportunities?
Yeah, who owns them, who frequents them, like. I'm really not interested in defining Swannanoa as between Black Mountain and Asheville.
right, it's almost what it feels like.
So that's my first. And then I do think that there are concepts in the other two that are really critical to our identities. And I think that like branding and selling Swannanoa, I would really caution us to look at Asheville in terms of who can afford to live in Asheville and what has happened by branding and selling Asheville to the people who lived there.
Yeah.
So why don't we go through the other two? I'll read through the other two and remember that the three, you guys have to agree that these three are going forward to be voted on by the public or by the community. So the second one, whose was the second one?
That was this.
That too.
Yeah.
In the coming decades, Swannanoa will evolve into a thriving, engaged, and inclusive community that honors its history and working class roots while embracing innovation and sustainability. It will be a safe, walkable community with affordable homes, accessible transportation options, and parks and gathering spaces that foster connection and well-being. Local businesses, arts, and agriculture will anchor a resilient economy that provides jobs and meets the needs of the community by planning thoughtfully and working together. Swannanoa will protect its natural resources, strengthen its infrastructure.
Oh,
Wow, we had just gotten to the climax. Oh, Jesus, it's like, wow, what a buzz killer. Okay.
We're back.
By planning thoughtfully and working together, Swannanoa will protect its natural resources, strengthen its infrastructure, and ensure opportunity and belonging for all who call it home.
dang,
Third
I love
one.
that too.
Yes.
Swannanoa envisions a thoughtful, data-driven, connected, and resilient community that honors its small-town character while preparing for a sustainable future. This is accomplished by focusing on Swannanoa's natural landscape, increasing stormwater regulations, preventing development in high-hazard areas, and creating stream-side management zones. Swannanoa is a safe, accessible, and welcoming place where people can live, work, and play in harmony with the surrounding mountain and river valley. A revitalized community that will anchor local independent businesses and relationships while increasing affordable housing and transportation options to ensure residents of all ages and incomes can thrive.
Similarities, yeah.
It seems like 3 should be 1. And then 1 should be 2, and then 2 should be 3. And it'll tell a story of all our, like the different, it's a different versions, but it seems like it all speaks similar to, except, the part with Black Mountain Asheville. Because my question would be, does Black Mountain Asheville think about us?
Well,
This
just
one,
take the
Noah.
Black Mountain and Asheville part out. I was literally
Yeah, okay.
pulled things from the SWOT analysis that were under the strengths.
So,
Connectivity.
yeah.
Connectivity can be just in general, because it's
So-
also within Swannanoa.
Our rivers, trails, parks, and mountains shape a lifestyle rooted in the outdoors with native plant line paths and with, so do you just want to end it with in the outdoors and with native? That's important.
Corridors of connectivity.
Connecting us,
Yeah,
period.
connecting us, that's.
Okay.
That thought behind the native stuff, guys, is that native plants survive easier than anything else. And we have so much that we've got to put back in the way of trees and greenery in order for it to be the place, the lush place that it was pre-storm.
It's our job to say, here are 3 versions that people can vote on right now. That's our.
The thought was that in the next poll, which would be going live maybe next week, we would give the public 3 options.
But we can, I mean, with this, we could give them one option.
I don't think we're close enough to just do one, I mean. That's not.
I mean,
Or we can give them 2 options.
In the comprehensive plan, we said, here's the vision statement. Do you want to change anything about it?
So for the comprehensive plan, we did the vision themes and we asked them if there was anything that needed to be changed with those vision themes. So that's another way we could do it.
so we could give them more than 1 or 1 and say, do you like this or what would you change?
Yeah, which is
What
the
would you add?
closest?
Yeah, what are the I think it's important to know what the questions are gonna be that we're gonna ask people. How do they pick? Are you gonna say, tell us what to change, or are you gonna ask them to edit it? Or are you just gonna say, pick the one that you like the best? And it's gonna stay the way it is.
So it would be something like, which of these 3 statements
Yeah.
do you think is the closest vision of what you want to see for Swannanoa in the future? And then it would be, are there specific things missing or incorrect in the statement you picked?
Would you ask,
Would
which
get-
is the one you like the best, and are there aspects of others you would like to see included?
Yeah.
We can do that too.
But there should be something open-ended too, where
And
there
then
may not
what,
be
is there anything that,
what
Yeah.
they think should be changed, but. In the
Yeah.
first one, sorry, I was just gonna say in number 1 there, this is just, it's a little nitpicky, but Swannanoa is not a close-knit valley. That's like grammatically kind of incorrect. I think we need to use a different word there.
yeah, I think that's true.
Swannanoa is a vibrant, close-knit community where nature and residents thrive together,
That's good.
something like that, but yeah.
This
Can we
valley
ask
meaning Swan-
why y'all chose that before we
The Swannanoa Valley is much bigger than Swannanoa.
Well, I'm not in that group, but I can the close-knit valley, because, I played a lot of sports and I played a lot of things coming up in this community, and a lot of our teams have the valley on as a brand, you know?
Mm.
And when people,
Right.
you know, when we used to go play people, you know, it was like, you guys are from the
From
valley.
the valley.
And that was that was our brand and we
Yeah.
would, you know,
Okay,
knock your head off.
Yeah, that's
Black-
what-
Black Mountain-
That's beside the point, but
So just
we're changing Valley.
saying Black Mountain's the valley, you know,
Well, it's all
it's
Swannanoa.
all the valley. You're saying
Valley.
Swannanoa is the
Yeah.
valley.
We need to like edit each one of these. I guess that's what I was asking, like if our job is to give three and say, you know, tell us which one you like the best and tell us what's missing. Tell us the concepts you like the best out of these, then we might be done without having to like edit and code statements a whole lot.
So the community gives feedback.
I think that there's a lot of similar ones in two and 3, there's a lot of similar
There are
concepts.
some,
Mhm.
And I think you could create a statement that incorporated all these ideas. And we, not tonight, but someone could do that.
Mhm.
That could be-
So if that is what we're looking for, is that you're okay with these three statements as is going out to the community?
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that.
Right.
Okay.
I think the other thing too is we're not trying to write the plan in the vision statement. And so as high level as we
Yeah.
can make it,
Yeah,
not to put ourselves in a corner, but the
Yep.
vision statement in my mind holds those that are elected accountable
Yeah.
to what we said.
That's right.
We said resilient. We didn't mean, we said resilient.
Yeah.
You'd say what, right? We
Yeah.
say sustainable, we say focused. You know, I think that's in my opinion.
Yeah.
The small area plan is the vision statement in one is to be very, very high level.
Mhm.
Because the plan is what we're gonna get into the weeds, but the
Mhm.
vision statement holds people accountable. And I think that's
That's the truth.
that's one of the things I'm most passionate about.
Mhm.
That was a very good.
You write that down.
So that within a planning document, like, but that was awesome, fun.
All right, so we will work on that question and we're gonna get the poll out to the public as quickly as we can and probably leave it up into the new year. I'm not sure when the close would be, but they will have an opportunity to look at the policy map, to pick out of these three options, to give us feedback in general through, you know, just a general comment box. And we'll have that going past even our design workshop. So it'll be up for quite a while. Yep,
We have it on paper too,
we will have a paper
carry
copy.
it up and down the road and ask our neighbors and
Yeah,
everything.
so we will do a planner in the box packet again for this poll that's gonna come out and we can get you copies of those documents. If you want paper versions, I can send you a link to the packet online. We'll have it on the website. We'll have all of that stuff will be up and ready to go probably by the end of this week. So if you want to be sharing it out that way. And then I do have some materials for y'all to take home with you tonight. But real quick, if we still have some time, everybody's good for a couple, just 10 more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so just wanted to introduce you to the studies that our staff's been working on. Existing condition study is one of them. The hazard vulnerability assessment is the other. Ultimately, they're gonna all be one document, but we've been kind of working on them separately because they are addressing different questions. So the reason we're bringing this kind of intro to you tonight is because your homework for the next meeting will be to look through these documents. We'll provide you with some high level kind of overviews if you don't have a lot of time to go through them all. But I've got some ways for you to go home and kind of look at that in different formats. So we'll be emailing those to you probably by Wednesday. And then we are thinking we will not have our October 27th meeting. And that way we'll come back November 10th. You guys will have a lot of time to look through all this, get questions, think about how these documents might inform any policy recommendations or actions that the county should be taking. And we'll be kind of coming back to that after December to really start picking out what we need to be doing about this data. But this study, this is a lot of data that already exists in the community. So census data, demographics, physical data out of our GIS systems. So the existing conditions study was not so much about future risk or anything. That is more in our hazard analysis. So this is just what's on the ground as of this date right now. We do have a history section that's very short. But for the most part, it's just the current conditions, post-Helene, the best available data that we have to date. The draft that you're gonna get is not gonna be complete. We're giving you kind of where we are now, but we're gonna continue collecting some of the missing data into the new year. Some of the things that we need to get from FEMA especially, we just don't have right now, but we're at a point where it's complete enough that we wanna give you lots of time to start reviewing it. So it's also important to know that this document, it doesn't make any recommendations. This is gonna be an appendix to the plan, and it's just a snapshot in time of the existing conditions of the community. So no opinion or policies or anything like that is in this document. Yeah, Dee Dee?
Does it line up with the map we chose?
So this is the document that uses the Swannanoa Township.
Okay.
And some of those maps, you'll see some of the conditions beyond those boundaries, but the analysis that we do, the data we pulled out of census is all the township map. Any other questions?
Are you guys gonna stay true to all of the information that we provide and create here? Like it's not gonna go any different directions in the final ending, like we'll get to see the complete work that we're working on.
Yeah, so when we get into the new year, you all will be helping to pick those policies and actions, recommend policies and actions. We'll be taking all of the recommendations to the public for another round of feedback. And then you're all going to have to, unfortunately, review the entire draft plan as we're writing it together. Well, hopefully, actually, I don't know that that'll be too long, though. This is probably the longest document that's gonna come out of this. But, it'll all be part of the final document with the appendixes. So,
Is this gonna include data on housing loss in Swannanoa from FEMA and other sources after Helene?
yeah, it does have a section on Helene impacts.
Okay.
So it's looking at kind of what we lost, where it was, landslide data, that kind of stuff. And then if you go to the next slide, so it's a snapshot in time. So what is not there anymore that we had before? And then in the hazard vulnerability assessment, that's where we're looking forward. What are the existing hazard conditions that could pose a problem in the future?
Yeah.
So we look more at exposure levels to those different types of hazards. We look at the sensitivity level. So, you might have a very high wildfire hazard area, but that doesn't mean that every single structure in that area has a high sensitivity. So we've got ratings that we're getting from Land of Sky Regional Council's Excel Adapt program, where they're looking at things like tree fall from Helene. They're looking at the 1,000-year floodplain, the 500-year, and we get all sorts of different ratings of risk level down to specific structures. So this is something that we're gonna be looking at and bringing you that document, and then talking about adaptive capacity. So you might have a high-risk area. You might have a building that is at risk specifically, but you might have two identical at-risk buildings with one has a high adaptive capacity and the other one has a low adaptive capacity. So one might have been built soon, more recent and meets stricter codes. It has better building materials. It might score differently than another one. And we can really dig into some of that data and see like who is really at risk for different types of hazards, where, as another example, we're looking at accessibility in terms of our transportation network. So who might get cut off, where, which roads are most vulnerable? What kind of systems do we have in place for different areas? So it goes into a lot of different stuff that is just totally different than existing condition study.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, as far as like wildfires, like the Forest Service, we're incredibly worried about it because of a lot of that down debris, and not necessarily within the next year or two, but within like the next 5 to 10 years when all those big trees start drying out. And that, so I think there's a possibility of more fires being with that Black Cove complex. And then like you're talking about like accessibility, like there's so many like, a lot of these old logging roads, the Forest Service will use as like access to fight these fires. And some of them are just like impassable just because there's so much fallen timber. Like I tried to cruise the Weaverville watershed and it was only like a 4,000 foot walk in and it took us probably 4 hours. Because you're just climbing over a tree, under a tree, over here, down the hill, up there. And we asked those guys at the Weaverville watershed, like that's their only fire access road. And so, and they don't know when it's going to get cleaned out. So like, I know y'all talk to Buncombe County like a bunch and say, if y'all have any access roads, like clean them up. Because if a fire happens and they can't get in there, your only options are a helicopter or a plane. I mean, that's about that.
And I will say too, a lot of the data that we're using is pre-Helene in terms of hazard analysis. So we do have tree fall data. And it from what I have been told, it's quite accurate, but it's not necessarily going to play well with some of our other layers that are just not going to be updated for a while. So we're trying not to compare apples to oranges where possible. But we only have so much data at the moment. So we're trying to, use what we have to really get a good picture of what the hazards are like potentially in the future.
Yeah.
So any other questions about that? No.
I just need to tell you something.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That is all, is that all I have? Oh, no, your homework.
No, get rid of that slide.
My favorite part. Okay, this is my favorite part of the whole meeting. So your homework, if you choose to accept it, is that staff will be emailing you a copy of these 2 studies that you can download or read online or however you want to do it. As you are looking through these, just in the back of your mind or maybe in some notes, think about policies or actions that might pop into your mind that you're like, oh, we really need to think about access standards. That's a perfect example of as you're looking at the wildfire section, what are we doing about access standards? What are the options? Can the county do anything about that? Even if you just have a question, but you don't know what the policy or action is, make some notes so that we can get all of that and start.
Even if it's a list of issues.
Yeah. Yep. And then the second homework assignment, which is supposed to be number 2, is to engage your community. So this poll is going to be coming out with your vision ideas and with the policy map. Andy is demonstrating for us. We have copies of the postcards that have been updated for this new poll. Spanish on one side, English on the other. We've got some flyers, if you know some local businesses that would let you put them up, or you have some community centers or whatever it may be. There is a copy of each of those items for all of you. So please take at least one and try to help us with some of those gaps that we have. We have a plan, but you're all out there, so you're gonna do a better job.
Are we getting an electronic version too?
Yes, yeah, it's online now, but I will email you everything that you could possibly want.
But don't want to hand out the postcards until we tell you that the poll is
Live, yeah.
It'll probably be Wednesday, but just wait for that email before you start handing them out.
15, right? Postcards? Is it 50?
I eyeballed it.
Eyeball 50, but
Yeah.
when we talk about engagement, when we talk about engaging communities, they want to hear from you guys. They don't want to hear from us. So your homework is to talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your enemies about the plan, about doing the poll, about coming to our design workshop and getting the community involved. That's your homework.
Is it possible to put the revision statement screen back up again? I just want to take a picture of it.
Oh. Yeah, we can all make on too.
Grab it real quick.
They're gonna send.
That's probably better.
Oh, no, oh my God.
I think I might have just unplugged everything. Did I?
You did die.
I almost died. Did you see me?
Oh, no, I didn't. Like, promise to draw us.
Yeah.